Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And I got to push back on you just a little bit in that I've been trying to claim the titles I've collected over the years. And in analyzing what being an entrepreneur means, I've been that for over a decade. I first started a photography business when I was about 16 years old, when I realized that local nonprofits in Skagit Valley weren't generating visuals that were as impactful as they could be. It wasn't tying into their messaging or their mission or the point of why they were in service to our community. It was a lot of the backs of heads, a lot of people standing at buffet bars during conferences, and it just didn't hit the mark as to why we should care. And then I became the photo editor of the Burlington Edison yearbook and saw all those painful senior photos where everyone, it's like they had pins in their cheeks and their eyes were screaming, "Help me, I haven't blinked in 5 minutes." And just had this crazy thought that I think I could take photos of my peers that actually looks like the people I see in the hallway every day. And that's what I wanted to see and look back on in my yearbook. And that really started my first true business, outside of babysitting, which was portrait photography. All the nonprofit stuff was for free because I just wanted to help. But this was a way for me to actually start developing my skills, my knowledge, and my talent in a way that could prove fruitful in the future. And I have maintained this freelance photography, events, portraits, anything in between lifestyle for about 12 years, which has accumulated into now a business called As You Are Photography. And you all, outside of the people who have helped me build this website and this brand, are the first ones to actually see it. So my heart is racing right now over, all the micro things I'm going to notice as it's in front of other people's eyes for the first time. But from the branding to the website to everything in between, I have had such a direct hand in creating this over the last 12 years. And the whole point of this business is that I really want to help you have photos that best capture and celebrate who you are today. And that means I don't want to be in the middle of a field at sunset in your Sunday best, because that's not how your family actually spends their Sunday evenings. They spend them cooking together, sitting down at a table together, putting your kids to bed. Those are the moments that I often realize that people think, God, I wish I had a camera right now, or I wish I didn't have my hands full. I can be there for you. I have training as a journalist. I have training as a storyteller, and I just want to take photos that really, whether it's in the portraits I take, the events I cover, or the education I impart, help people see themselves in the best light possible and know that the day-to-day moments of their life are worth capturing. So that is my very brief elevator speech. As we talk, I may hop around on this website to show you different pieces that might answer your question, but I am still new with this elevator speech, with communicating why environmental portraiture is different than traditional or even say lifestyle photography, which everyone is very into right now, say when it comes to family portraits. And any questions you have that help me better communicate this business, the point, its differences, would be incredibly helpful to me. So, anyone have a question? Go for it, Carly.
First and foremost, I love meeting fellow entrepreneurs, and as soon as I heard that, I just got so excited. So my question to you is, this is the question that I am always trying to dig deeper into for myself, is what's your ideal client, and what's your target market, and who are you really hoping to serve?
That is a great question. The very short answer is everybody, because I cannot contain myself and my energy to just one area. And I've realized that. So instead of trying to figure out a specific client type, like say nonprofits, and really getting into that niche, I've tried to communicate that my ideal client is anyone who is not obsessed with perfection, because that's the point of these photos. There's not going to be a lot of retouching. I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time posing you in the perfect light. I want to tell you what general direction to face, when to look at me. But outside of that, I want you to do your own thing. And I guess if I'm really going to answer your question appropriately, I will say out of all the people I could take photos of, all the events, I really want to dig into what I call passion and profession photography. What are the processes that people undergo through what really truly gets them at their most engaged, whether it's a team, a person. This is a small architecture firm here in the Midwest that I've worked for a couple of years doing their culture photography for their business. This is an art gallerist who puts together work in our town through a nonprofit. And really, this is the niche that is the hardest right now to get people to understand why it's worth buying. Everyone wants a family photo. Everyone wants a new headshot. No one really wants people to see their process of how they create all the time. But that's what gets people to care about your end product. If you show them the effort that went into putting it together, if you get them invested in how you as an individual go about creating your ideas or making theirs come to life, they will partner with you forever on what you're doing. But if it's just you and your team standing here like this in front of your building, all that tells them is where you work. That's it. So ideally, I would love to dig more into this client type, but as an entire whole, it's the people who are more focused on the moment and its meaning rather than being perfect or seen as perfect. So thank you for your question, Carly.
Erin, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Or maybe make a suggestion.
Mhm.
I think if, as you're showing a photo, if you could, particularly I'm talking about business now,
Yeah.
if you could offer suggestions and explain how to use this photo to communicate the service that the business does. Don't assume that people are creative as you are in knowing how to use this. So as an example, when you show that architect picture, say, and one of my clients found this very beneficial because it communicated blah, blah, blah.
It's like I lost my pen.
I
That was
didn't
such a
mean to
good
knock
comment.
you.
My
I
pen
didn't
went.
mean to knock you over.
I was going to say it was such a good question. My pen literally flew out of my hand.
Good job, though. And good
I
luck.
very much like that template. Thank you. Any other questions? Go for it, Dad.
So it seems that your photography is very much about capturing the moment and not influencing the moment.
Mhm.
So how does that work if you're not necessarily part of our environment? How do you help us just be us?
Conversation is what kicks it off. I take the time to do coaching calls, and coaching calls is just the word that sprung to mind in this moment. It's a consultation. There we go. It's another C. But I definitely have consultation calls with my clients ahead of time, even if they don't think it's necessary, just to get to know them a little bit better. What are their mannerisms? Are they extroverts? Are they introverts? Are they, expelling energy in very descriptive words as they're trying to put together what they want? Or are they kind of laid back or unsure of where they want to go? And through that, I tend to start answering those questions like what Phil was talking about of what's the point? How is this going to help us? And then I take it slow. Ideally, in my process, I would love to start introducing a 20-minute test session before the actual session for me to come in with them, whether it's to their home, their business, somewhere where I can just start moving around the space, get them used to me, get me understanding where the light is hitting just right. Maybe even have that be like a free test run and you get a couple photos from it just for the sake of dealing with me coming in early. But after that, really in the moment, I always give some sort of a preface of, all right, now we're in this together. I promise you there are not going to be any photos where you look like a half blinking, half thinking monster. That's not you. That's going to be deleted immediately. And anytime I need you, I'll get your attention. But outside of that, getting people comfortable hasn't seemed to be that big of a challenge for me, which is probably why I like this. I like the flashing Sukoshi. That is, you were right last time. That is much more noticeable. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for helping me out today. If you have any other questions, feel free to email them or chat them.